Hello everyone, it's Marion from Marion's World, and in today's video I'm going to be finishing off this jacket. The jacket that I started a couple of weeks ago with my very first ever piece of Sashiko stitching, and I decided to do it on a thrifted jacket because it was practicing, and I got so addicted to it I've carried on. The jacket is now finished. At some point I'm stitching in the garden and then I'm stitching in the house as well, and I hope you like it when you see the completed jacket. And at the end of the video there's also a garden update, so stay tuned for that and I'll see you later. Here's my jacket so far and I'm really loving it. I made a couple of changes. The cuffs had a funny triangle piece on here that I just didn't like, and so I filled them in so that the crosses go around like a cuff, and I've done both of them. And on the back I filled in all of the pieces that I wanted to piece. I'm going to stitch outside today. I'm going to prep the fronts and then I'm going to show you what I'm stitching and how I'm going to try and finish this jacket off. So I'm sitting outside, I'm going to try and get some of this jacket done, and I have prepped the first side with the lines. I tried to do it without, but I'm not good enough yet. In fact, my accuracy is still a lot to be desired. However, I did finish the back of here. So that pattern there, I made up myself, inspired by a book that I've just got. And I did add the cat fabric. So the back's almost finished. But I thought I'd work on the front. And I'm just getting my needle. In the middle times, I've actually gone and bought a book. And I've bought this one, Colourful Sashiko by Sashikonami, and I'm going to do a pattern out of there today, and it's the one that is said to be the best one for a new starter, and it's called Double Persimmon Flower Nejukaki no Hana, which I'm probably saying totally wrong, but I'm going to try my best. So that's the pattern, and I'm going to start it on the bottom here. So this bottom part here, and then I'm going to fill in with fabric the same, but I'm going to do every single piece of sashiko I do, I'm going to choose a different pattern to do it with. So I'm going to turn you around so you can see me starting off, and then I think it's going to be, I'm going to be stitching off camera and keep bringing you back in, otherwise it'll be hours. So I'm just going to bring you around. I've got my Sashiko needle and my first piece of thread, and I'm going to just start by doing my running stitches. Now I definitely have been enjoying a lot just practicing, but I realise that already my little crosses are not very accurate, and I think I'm not disheartened by that. I'm just know that that's why I need more practice. And so it's a good thing for me to say to you on camera that a lot of people today, it seems to me that they think they have to be super perfect with something from the word go. It makes it look, sort of the internet and Instagram and all that, makes it look as if everybody's doing perfect work all the time. But of course that's not exactly what it is at all. A lot of people who are doing this perfect work have had so much practice, years and years worth, and quite often everything's edited so much to make it look like it's perfect. And so part of the doing of this jacket for me is not only am I practicing it for my own self, which is the whole point, as I wanted to have a jacket like this, but partly is because it's a brand new craft for me to do. Even though it's stitching, it's a totally different technique, and I'm just as rubbish as anybody else who might be starting a new technique, and the only way to get better is to carry on practicing and not giving up at the first hurdle. But also the other thing is that make something that you think you're going to enjoy having. Sort of for me, I didn't want to just start practicing my sashiko on little bits of cloth. To me, what would I have done with them? I would have counted it, maybe it's just the way I work, but I would have counted that as a bit of a waste of time. So to do the jacket means that even if, I can always say I'm going wrong there, even if the Sashiko isn't perfect, it doesn't have to be. It's a record of my learning journey, and then that's absolutely fine. And as I get more experienced and I become more accurate, I'll be able to look back on this and say that was the start of it. And I think that's fine. There's nothing inherently wrong in not doing perfect work. In fact, there's the whole thing of wabi-sabi and all of that type of thing, which I'm totally with. But it's just sort of learning to accept where you're at that time. So for me at the moment, at this time, I am at a total beginning journey, trying to learn my technique, trying to make more accurate stitches, but that is not going to make me disappointed with what I'm currently doing. And I'm currently making a jacket, and I will proudly wear it, even if somebody else would think that's not very good, Sashiko. It doesn't matter to me, because I'll know that it's the best I could do at this particular moment in time, and that I will improve. And it may be that you just don't get into it and you don't want to do it anymore, whatever it is, whatever. Could be carpentry, could be knitting. You might never enthuse with it. I think you have to give yourself a chance to. And you can only give yourself a chance to by carrying on practicing. And I am going to carry on with this. So I'm going to just keep doing my stitches, pulling my threads, and trying my very best to be, every time, be that little bit more accurate. And I'll be able to see the progress on my journey. I'm going to fill this in. I've already crossed that. I am finding it difficult. I'll show you the fabric. The lines on the fabric make the vertical lines that I'm drawing really difficult to see. But never mind. This is going to have a piece of fabric on the top, and this is too. And I've taken the buttons off already because I want to be able to go over there without any problem. But I've just put a knot of thread in to show me where the buttons have to be. So I'll carry on. Get all of this done, ready to do. I'll pull you back in when my last bit of pattern is starting to come together, and you can see how magical it is, because it is magical. I've brought you back in because I've made a mistake, and I thought I'd show you what I'm doing about it. So I did all my horizontals and I alternated each row just like I did last time, but I was aiming for this pattern here, and what I forgot to do was pair two of the rows every so often. So I started to do it here, so I've done alternates there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, but then I should have paired those ones and come back down again, but I didn't do that on the horizontals. Well, I'm not going to take it all out, so I'm just going to do freeform waves, and I'm going to just accept that that's fine. So I've turned the wave there, and I'm coming back up. I don't want it to be regular, so I'm going to take it another step, a couple of steps up and do it. So it just looks a bit more, free form. And I may see if there's anything I can do diagonally there. But other than that, I'm going to leave the waves, and I actually quite like them, but it wasn't what I was aiming for. So that's another lesson in don't worry too much if you do make a mistake. There's quite often something you can do about it. And what I'm doing about it is just accepting that it really still looks pretty, even though it wasn't what I was aiming for. Get it all on camera. I struggle to look at the camera and realise which way I'm supposed to be moving things. There. So it should have had a little cross bit here. And obviously it wasn't making the cross. It did take me a little while to realise what I'd done wrong. And what I'd done wrong was alternating every row, instead of alternating so many, pairing them and alternating again, which is what I am doing on the vertical rows, but I didn't do on the horizontals. So not to worry, I'm going to continue. I'm going to do another row upwards and then turn it again, and it'll be just a really nice flowing wave. And I'll be happy with that. carry on just doing my best and learning from my mistakes to check the pattern properly in future, because that's what I'd done. I just looked at it and thought it was alternate rows, and obviously it wasn't. But there we go. Now I'll check. But also, it's lovely to think that you can actually make your own patterns up on the grid, which is also, that's what I'm really enjoying. Definitely have to have a cup of tea to go with the stitching. And I'm going to sit outside where the greenhouse is, because I've got a little table beside me. And I can sit down. And I can carry on with my hand stitching. And so I'm getting on quite well with my jacket. And there's been one or two mistakes, I have to say. I can show you that just now. And at the moment I'm just stitching on the next piece of fabric, and I did find that I still had some quilt basting spray, and so I've actually given this bit of fabric a little spray to keep it in in the place where I would like it to be. Now I'm going to show you how far I've got on, and this is how far I've got on the front. I made a mistake with this bit, which was supposed to be the persimmon flower. But what I'd forgotten was, I went to put all the running stitch in, and I forgot to do the little paired mirroring lines. And so my pattern wasn't being correct, and I could tell it wasn't making right. And it took me about 5 minutes to work out why I'd gone wrong. And once I had worked it out, I was thinking, okay, I just carry on, I'm not taking it out. And so I've just ended up with a lovely wave pattern, and I'm really pleased with it. So I think I'm going to do that persimmon flower pattern again, and this time I'll try and make it properly. I've also sewn some cat fabric onto the bottom, and then done another 2 patterns out of a book. So because it's nice this morning, I thought just sit outside and get the next piece of fabric on. So I've got my thimble, I've got my sewing thread, and I'm just going to, and I've basted this on with spray baste and pins, and I'm just going to hold it and hem stitch it on where I would like it to be. It's just lovely to be able to sit outside. I know the Festival of Quilts is on today, and I've never actually been. Maybe next year. I think it's just such a long way. I feel as if I'd have to stay overnight, and then that just means it costs a lot more. And plus, it's not like I need more fabric, and I don't really do quilts anymore. Although I probably do have a quilt project coming up. Anyway, I'm just going to stitch away. And I think I know which pattern I'm going to do on this piece of jacket, and it might be another one where you thread you weave the threads through. So when I'm doing that, I'll make sure I video that so you can see what I'm doing. But at the moment it is just hemming, or hem stitching. It's not quite a slip stitch, smaller than a slip stitch. I've got my cup of tea here. I've put my little thing over my milk so nothing can get in. They're nice to use, those little old-fashioned, I don't know what the name of them is. Like, I can't quite think what they're called. But I use them all the time in the summer. And that's because I use a milk jug. going to get this patch on and then work out the pattern for the top part of the shoulder. I've got my patch finished being sewn on, and I've prepared to do another one of the weaving type of sashiko stitches, and they're quite big stitches, and I've used a thread that I got when I got my other threads. So that is a finer cotton, and I have two colours. I've got a blue and this lovely teal, and I thought I'd use the teal. So I've put these big crosses on, they're quite big, and I've put them up on the shoulder because I thought that was the place I could do the weaving that would be the least likely to get caught anywhere. But I'm ready to do the weaving, and I've got my white thread in my needle, and I hope I can manage to do this because I'm just following the tutorial from Sashiko Art Chile, which is where I found the other weaving pattern from. I'm going to use my heel of my needle. I'm going up that cross, and I'm going to hook through there. This looked really cool when I was looking at it, so I hope I can manage to do it the same. And through that cross, through the middle, and then just through one leg. So I'm going to go up and down. I'll try my best not to pull anything. So I'm going through the middle of the middle of the cross in the middle, but just through one leg of the cross at the edge. And I only need to go this far here because that's the turn of the collar. So as long as I do it underneath the turn of the collar, I should be all right. So I'll go down there, and I'm not sure where I'm supposed to go now. I think I need to be on the other side of there. I think here. And then do the same again. Up through the middle. Through one leg. Back down to meet that one. That looks right. Okay. I think I'm on it. I really love how these look. The pattern sort of magically appears. And then there. So that's my first sort of row. I'm going to carry on and get the rest of it in. I'm trying to keep my jacket as flat as possible so I don't pull anything. I don't want anything pulled tight. And I'll do the same again. So that's my whole one through that way, and so now I'm going to do exactly the same coming the other way on, and hopefully, so I'm going to go through that leg, through the middle of the cross. I've got a really long piece on my needle, through this leg here, through the middle of the cross, and yes, that's the way. I think I've got it. Oh yes, that's it. Oh, look at that, it's starting. These are magical. They're absolutely magical. Seem it to me anyway. Keep going. So I'm going on top of my original piece, and they're crossing over underneath that cross. That way. That's it. easy to get confused. And then I will just lead that onwards and go down, and then work out where I have to come back up for the rest of the pattern. Started at the bottom again. I think it's because I don't have the experience, I can't particularly see the pattern in the same way as I could do with knitting or crochet because of the experience. But on this, I'm a beginner, and so I just haven't got my eye in of where I have to put my needle all the time. But I've started from the bottom again so that I can just get my hang with the pattern, because I can work that with being left-handed. I'm easily working it up that way. Oh, look at that though, that looks beautiful. So through the middle, through the leg, through the middle, through the leg. It's the secondary pattern that comes out when you've done it. Look at that, I mean, it's like beautiful. Through the middle, through the leg. It's marvellous. And we're ready for through the middle there. Now that would have gone on being crossed, so I'll put my needle down and see if I can work out where it has to come back up again. Here's that beautiful pattern finished, and I think it looks amazing, and it is slightly quilted, and I've tried my very best to keep everything stretched out, so it may be that that's just the way that pattern goes, but I didn't want it to be too loose. But I've faded the pattern away there, because once the collar is back, it's just going to look like that, which I think is lovely. And originally I was going to put lace on the collars, but really my whole ideas have changed, and although I was going to do lots of work on the collar, now I feel that because everywhere else is so covered with pattern, that I need the relief of having some plain fabric. So I think the collars are probably going to be left plain, unless I do a little motif here, possibly. So this side is now completed, and I'm not putting anything under the arm, I don't need to. I sort of free-handed these because I was having difficulty seeing the marks, so I know they're a bit wiggly. It doesn't matter, it's all practice and it's all enabling me to move forward. This was so much to stitch, and I felt as if I'd maybe marked it out in too small a pattern. And so although I was going to cover this whole piece in with this pattern, it just felt like too much and I wasn't getting it done accurately enough. So I finished it level with the buttonhole there and did the little daisies instead. So the fabric's here, and at the buttonhole here, all I've done is cut a slit and I've hemmed the material right round the buttonhole, so to keep it nice. So I've got one front totally done. I'm going to do the other front, and then I'll show you it when it's finished, because otherwise the video will be hours. But that's, I love that. I love these weaving patterns. They're really lovely. I think it'll be fine up there. I don't think it's going to get caught. I couldn't have done that pattern down where the buttons were, that's for sure. So now I'm going to do this side, which has been yet to start. And here's my finished jacket. And I'm absolutely over the moon with it. I'm going to bring you in closer so you can see which patterns that I've used. I'm up on my tiptoes now so you can see it. So this side, it has the double persimmon that I did wrong and turned it into a wave. And then I can't remember what that one's called, but that was out of Sashikonami. And then I free-handed these little daisies. And then got that lovely weaving pattern from Sashiko Chile. And then on this side I have this little weaving pattern, and it was another mistake really, because I started out to do the double persimmon again and still forgot to do the mirrored pair of stitches. It's because I just get so focused on doing the running stitch, I forgot to do it again, and so I looked for another pattern. So I found this weaving pattern in the Colourful Sashiko book by Sashikonami. So that was a nice weaving one that I did with the teal thread. The cat fabric went on. This is also from the Colourful Sashiko. In fact, it's called Hanazashi, and so it's this one here. And I tried my very best to keep it accurate, and I feel I did a pretty good job. And I just faded it away under the collar. I didn't want to make the collar too thick to turn or anything. And then I've just added more fabric at the top. I've replaced the buttons with 2 vintage ones out of my button box, and all together I'm so pleased with it. I think it looks gorgeous, and because it was just a practice really, but I've got a wearable jacket, and the only thing is I think each side of the back, I think I'm going to fill that in as well. What an absolute joy that has been to do, and although I did make mistakes, I'm not stressing about it. To me, it's been a perfectly successful practice of my first ever sashiko, and I couldn't be happier with it. I've turned what was a boring jacket into something that's it's an absolute wearable piece of art. That's what I think. And so the only thing I think I'm going to do, and that's only just since I've sort of had it on and worn it, is these pieces here down the side of the back. I think I'm actually going to fill them in as well. I think I'd rather it was totally, because when I look at it like that, I feel as if those side pieces need doing. And I also have to finish off all my ends on the inside as well, because although I started off with the best of intentions of trying to do it like the green wrapper was showing and weaving, it didn't last very long, and I started to put knots in. So I need to, and I've left some long pieces here that I thought I'd deal with at the end, and so I'll maybe be able to weave them in or do something, but I'll tidy them all up. And I also had the thought that I might line it with a bunny lining, so I don't know yet, but I'm still going to count that as complete. So thank you for watching, and I hope that's really been something you can take from it, is that you're never too old to learn something new. You're never too old to start something that you think might take a long time to learn, because once you've started, you only have to go onwards and keep practicing. So it's never too late to learn a new skill. And you might end up with a lovely jacket like this that you can proudly go and wear. So that's my thoughts on it anyway. And so yeah, I've really enjoyed the process, and I just encourage anybody, go and get a thrifted jacket. And this cost me £5. It didn't cost very much. If it had come out rubbish, I haven't lost very much, and I'll have had all of that practice. As it is, I'm over the moon, and I will be wearing it. There's absolutely no doubt about it. I'm going to say thanks for watching, but I'm actually going to cut you into a little bit of a garden update as well. So there's the garden's looking very pretty. There's some later summer flowers out, and I thought you'd enjoy just having a look at what was around. So I'm going to end the video with saying please like and subscribe and press me the thumbs up. Is that the like? I think. I never know. Just do whatever you're supposed to do if you liked the video, and I'll see you next time when you come and visit me. And you never know, I might actually be wearing my jacket for the rest of the time now. That with my butterfly brooch, I'm set. Thanks for watching, everybody. Enjoy my little garden update, and I'll see you next time. The summer garden is looking really pretty still. Some of the earlier things have gone over, but then new things are coming forward. This beautiful clematis pearl de jour is peeking through there. This is hydrangea Wims red. It starts off white and then starts to get speckled flowers that eventually turn red. They're really pretty. Crocosmia here are almost ready to open, and the clematis little bass is looking phenomenal. There must be thousands of flowers on there. The flowers of the gooseneck Lismachia are doing their thing and looking forever like little birds' heads. I love them. They look good with that little Crocosmia firefly as well. Up under the apple tree is another beautiful clematis. I can't just remember which one that is though. And there's still honeysuckle out. And pink Annabelle is just delicious. Look at that sugar pink. Absolutely gorgeous. And I love the purpley big leaves of the vine. It's just ornamental, but it does get little bunches of black grapes on, but the birds eat them. They're not edible for people. The little tureen that I planted up in the spring is looking really pretty too.